If you're on the investment side of residential real estate, the transition to commercial is very simple. What do you feel like is your biggest challenge today that you feel like makes it possibly a little bit more difficult than you expected, or you're experiencing some
Mhm.
difficulty with?
I guess, yeah, the main thing would be discipline. You're self-motivated and time blocking for sure. I really have to gear into that.
Okay.
I'm in a long-term relationship, and now we're at that phase where, we got to make it in our own individual careers, right? Like this year, I did quite a bit of traveling. I spent maybe like a month in total away from the job, went to the motherland country, visit my girlfriend in Australia for 2 weeks. So like that's not what I want to do. I don't want to have 2 week vacations. I'll come to Miami, like visit some family. I'll do short trips, but like I'm at the stage where I shouldn't, if I'm away from my business, like this time is crucial, right? So in the next 12 months, I definitely really just want to gear in and build some systems, build some teams, because that's the thing. When I was part of the brokerage, we had a marketer, and he always told us, me and my friend, build a team, build a team. He knew the systems in place, but it's just I wasn't getting really the support on how to do it
Sure.
from the higher levels. So now it's more so I already know everything in terms of what to do. Now it's just kind of like guiding along to do it day in the life, systemically, just putting it plan to action. Like I had the knowledge, those 2 years of kind of building my skin, getting familiar with the industry, building my knowledge. Now it's just a matter of just doing the work and leveling up.
Got
Like
it.
there's no excuse now.
So right now, let's talk about it, consistency, discipline, and building a schedule. We can start
Yeah.
there. So what does your schedule look like right now?
Right now it's kind of all over the place. Like I try to wake up at 7. I remember our first call. Like yeah, gym was kind of a priority to me, but now it's going to be in the back burner. It's kind of like if I get to it, I get to it. So today for my birthday, I woke up. Well, just even yesterday, 7 a.m. Wake up, do some reading, self-individual reflection, and then 8 o'clock, email some builders, kind of go through my database, and then 9 o'clock, start calling, texting, and I really start doing the volume calls. But that's the thing, I kind of taper off because I'm also doing leases on the side. Because right now I firmed up on a couple deals, but I'm not going to get paid like till escrow in the new year. So I'm just doing certain things to keep me money quick going by, just to keep funding my marketing. And towards the evening, that's when I taper off, and then that's when I go to the gym. But I can also still use that time to phone people because people are very responsive. The main thing for me is committing because I'm also with a partner, and he has his own things going on, and I have my own things going on. But it's kind of like if I know where to aim and fire and what to allocate to get the result, I'll do it. I'm very avidly in the gym. I kind of know what I have to put in to get what I
Okay.
want, right?
Okay.
Um,
So before we dive into what adjustments to make, so I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. You have a partner, everything's 50-50, or what's the setup there?
yeah, with the database, we do 50-50. And then organic leads, kind of like what's in my control. That's, my split with the brokerage.
Understood. So I think about it in two fashions, okay? Because essentially, when you're in a partnership like that, things are weighted differently. A large portion of your day, right? Like, your morning routine's fine. Whatever you need to do to get into the right headspace is fine. I recommend that I'd also have somewhere between a 5 and 15 minute meeting with yourself before you get on the phones or before you start sending emails, which is sort of like, what do I need to do today in order to not only get the ball moving, but like get me closer to getting paid today, right? What is
Mhm.
like an immediate, if I need to get paid today, what needs to
Yeah.
happen ASAP,
Mhm.
right? As well as what red flags, right? So it's like, what do I need to do to get paid today? And then what do I need to do in order to save anything that's in jeopardy? Okay.
Yeah.
That's like immediate things. So like my goal is that by 9-ish every day, 9:30 maybe at the absolute latest, personally, this is just personally talking, all of those items are like all of that is completed. If I at 9:30 all my red flags are handled, and then for the next 3 hours or so, all I'm working on is getting me paid.
I
So
like
like
that.
by 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, if
Mhm.
something happens in my life that takes over, crazy phone call that derails me, client
Yeah.
derails me, personal life derails me, anything, because
Mhm.
life's gonna life.
Yeah.
I already did what I needed to do,
Mhm.
where in those 3 hours or 4 hours or so before 12, 1 o'clock, my whole thing, the entire rest of my day could be screwed up, but I did what I was supposed to do in the morning. It's a matter of, you need to own your mornings. What happens before 12 noon will dictate your year. If your before 12 noon is completely all over the place and not consistent, you are going to have a very tough year, because commonly we can, having that discipline, which by the way, like I don't want to call myself the most disciplined person in the world. I don't think I am. What I
Mhm.
am really good at though is no matter where I am, I will always make time to make my calls. Like I spent just shy of a month traveling through France this year, right? I'm a huge fan of traveling. I live in Miami and I sell properties in New Jersey. I'm a huge fan of traveling, where I was still making calls Monday through Friday while I was in France. I adjusted for the time difference. I set aside 3 hours to make my prospecting calls, and I still made my calls from France. I did that the year before. I was in Turkey for 3 weeks. I made the time adjustment. We were on a boat for 3 weeks, for 7 days of that entire trip. I was on a boat for 7 days too, sailing through the Mediterranean, and I was still making my calls from the boat back to here for my 3 hours, because I knew, like, the one thing that I've been fairly good at is staying disciplined and making my calls, because I know that if I just stay consistent, leads solve most problems. If you can master your before 12 noon on your own personal business, not the database split 50-50, because database split 50-50 comes after. You ever hear the saying on a plane, if the oxygen masks come down, what do you do first?
You go save yourself first.
Save yourself first, right? Mask on first, and then I go save other people. Okay, because if you don't save yourself, you're going to go saving other people and you're not going to have any oxygen and you're going to die.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to save yourself first. So it's the same thing with your leads. Save yourself first, feed yourself first, then you can feed other people, which is the same thing with building a team. I have over 20 agents, okay, that work on my team. Having a team like that, I'm the number one producer on that team, okay? I've made the mistake of building a team too quickly early on in my career, where I would spend 80% of, or call it somewhere between 60 and 80% of my time managing the team, building the team, helping the team out, right? Supporting them and trying to make them better. I was the number one producer on the team. I was bringing in 80 to 90% of all the business. Okay.
and
I'm spending 60 to 80% of my time building them up, which is complete stupidity. Where nowadays I have 20 plus team members. Okay. However, I spend 80% of my time on my own business and 20% of my time on their businesses, right? Where every little thing is delegated, where I get to focus all the time and energy and effort on my business, because I got to save myself first. And until they outproduce me, which my vision is hopefully one day that'll happen when I have 50, 100 people on it, right? But I'm the main guy, right? Because I'm not going to rely on some of these people to pay my bills. When you build a team, you build you up so big where you attract people to want to work with you, versus you are struggling to get to the next level and you feel that the only way to get to the next level is by recruiting people. Got it?
Yeah. Because that was always my opinion, for sure. Yeah.
100%. And I made the mistake of doing that. Okay. And it hurt me bad. I was lucky enough that I was still such a good salesperson and was consistent enough during that period of time that even my 20 to 30 or 40% effort that I was putting in on my own business was still enough to keep everything afloat. Right. I was doing, I had horrible margins on my business. Like I would have $100,000 a month, but I would only keep like 20 grand.
Yeah. It
was terrible. When in reality now my margins are 90%. Are very high, because I'm the main producer. I make most of the money, and then everything else is gravy, right? I mean, I'm excited for one day where make $1 million a month. I didn't do anything for it, right? Like that's the dream, right? But I'm not there yet, right? So, but I'm gonna have to add. I'll have a lot more agents on the team in order to do that. And as they continue to close more business, because in the commercial world, it's not a major volume business. Like in residential, I would do 100 plus sales a year, no question, because it's a quick, fast paced business. And commercial deals take 6 months, 12 months to close. Very regularly. Just keep that in mind. Like when you're even the thoughts of building a team, this is like, dude, I'm on a 30-year freaking journey here, dude. Right. I'm on a 30-year journey to build up a team of 10,000 agents. I'm not getting there tomorrow. Right. I'm at 20, right? 2022, right? I'm at 22 agents today. Right. So it's like, I got a long way to go, but I know in 30 years of doing all the right moves, I'll get there. But I'm not I don't need to attract 70 people tomorrow, because then I'm going to have to spend all my time, energy, and effort training them. Right. So it's building through profit, building through sustainability, instead of just building for building's sake.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And
one thing too, I'll give you more information too. So the original idea why we collaborated 50-50, it was not going to be forever. It's just temporary for us to kind of get off the ground and explore the online leads. And then the goal is for us to just split. And then that way, because it does a disservice if me and him are on the road with the same clients. We should be having so many appointments where we can't afford to be at the same place, same time. That was the goal, right? So there's going to be a point where it's no longer like that, and we just kind of farm our own campaigns, right?
Sure. I definitely get that. And just know that I think about it like this. The reason why agents come on my team is because training, accountability, systems, processes, which they would have to then pay for on their own, do on their own, create on their own, right? And the ability that they have to, what they can create on their own is here, but with a team, it's here. The compensation difference is still 2-3x what they could do on their own, right? So unless that is the case, which because I've made the mistake as well of being like on a team where I'm like, we're the same person and there's no reason for me, like I'm creating all the systems. There's like, it's like I partner with somebody and then we have no systems and I'm still giving them 50% and it doesn't make any sense.
You're getting the short end. You're doing all the work and the grunt work.
Yeah. And listen, making calls is not grunt work, right? Like we both do that. I make calls, you make calls, right? Like cool. And at the same time, like the systems, the processes, the taking it to closing, like all of the energy, like all of the after the phone call is made and you got a lead. Now what? That's incredibly valuable stuff, right?
So it's like,
well, but like exactly like what most people do. But it's like, okay, but at the same time, like if he's handing you a lead that's like what's the point of that? I don't need help like generating leads. Like at the same time is like if you're going to be if you're both prospecting on the phone, like that's one thing. But like if you're just paying for a bunch of crap leads, like what's the purpose of this partnership here, right?
Exactly, yeah. And that's one thing we always focus on is running lean as much as we can. Like we're getting a bunch of $3 leads of Toronto leads outsourced in another suburb in the GTHA. So now we're trying to get another campaign up and running, get a couple, because what we've been seeing results with is the bait and switch. Just get these guys that are qualified in a major metropolitan that are looking to attract whatever cheaper price point investors, and then bait and switch, because sometimes you get these pre-con leads that would just keep buying with you, be loyal with you, like you said, right? Like you never calling is not grunt work, because if you connect with somebody, you connect with an investor and they might just buy 20 units with you 1 year.
100%. That's what I mean. That's what a lot of my residential business years ago was about, was investors. Change my career. That's why I do what I do now.
I know when I do sense a pulse, that's when I really wet glove and just be myself, opposed to just asking questions and pre-qualifying, seeing what they're in the market for. Like that's what I want to kind of know from you too, is the system, how to master the residential and then how to transition into the commercial, right?
I mean, it's a very, like, I think about it like this. If you're on the investment side of residential real estate, the transition to commercial is very simple. It is simpler than you think. What I see is difficult is when someone's going from the regular, normal residential world, non-investor, like very traditional retail, quote, residential clients, into the commercial real estate world. And it's a very different world. On your end, I don't think you'll have too much of a complication with it. The one thing I can recommend when it comes to that quote transition, what worked best for me, I had a 50,000 person database in residential. I mean, I was doing 100 sales a year personally. Okay. So I had a very good database. I just stayed consistent with my database until my income in commercial was so high that I did not care about my residential business anymore. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like a slow transition. Like it's not like a cut cold turkey tomorrow. Right. It's like, if it's not like, drinking and then I'm going to stop drinking tomorrow. It's like, you're going to wean yourself off of quote, the residential drug. You're going to wean yourself off of it because like you can't, like right now it's feeding you, right? Like you can't, if you're making all your money residential side, you can't just cold turkey, make no money for 6, 8, 10, 12 months and then transition. Oh, you know what I mean? Like you can't do that.
Maybe a little bit of frame mind for me too. Like from a mentor, I started with doing volume leases in residential, and then I got into residential sale. And my first residential sale was my biggest one yet, was a 2.2. And that wasn't like handed to me. It was, so that's why it's kind of like in my mind, I have a mental roadblock where it's like, if I want to do commercial, I got to do commercial leases to learn commercial sales.
No. Well, and I'll be honest with you, like I hate commercial leases. I'm not a big commercial leaser. I don't spend much time in that world at all. If it comes across my desk, sure, I'll support. But like my world is like I love investment sales. I'm so obsessed with the game of investment sales. It is like real life Monopoly. Like I don't
your calls. You're like you put it in a way where it's just like, you're dumb. Like I would do this if I could do it. You should do it.
Yeah, like and I just have so much fun doing it. Like the world of leasing to me is way too corporate-y. And I own a lot of real estate, right? My family, owns a lot of real estate, which I help them with, right? Like I have a lot of friends that obviously own a lot of real estate and they're like constantly asking me about leasing. Like I'm not working with X business to help them find a space, right? Where they're going to pay $2,000 a month. That's not what I do, right? Like I'm looking at, $2 to $50 million commercial buildings that I can buy for 50, 60 cents on the dollar. That's my world, right? And then structuring a really good deal for that, right? That's what I'm very good at. I'm not the person negotiating. I can help you negotiate the lease because I can talk intelligently there, but like I'm not working with mom and pop owners that are looking for that space. You definitely do not need to go through the leasing world. I think that it comes with the territory, right? Like if you call up an owner, because what we do is we'll call up an owner and say like, hey, would you be totally against selling? We use the script book, which I'm imagining you've downloaded. I use my script. Would you be totally against selling the property? And then they say like, I'm not looking to sell. I'm like, okay. I'll flip it into a buyer script, and then I'll also flip it into like, just curious, is your building, completely, are you at 100% occupancy, or do you have any vacancy you need support with? Oh, I have 20, actually we just lost a tenant or whatever. You're like, oh yeah, we do have some vacancy. Just curious, would you be totally against having me market the property for you? And then I'll delegate it to one of my agents who's much better at leasing than I am and wants to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. I don't even want the phone calls, right? So I don't have time for it. Every one of the listings are not in my name because I don't care. Take the listing and take all the leads that come with it, because I don't want realtors reaching out to me saying like, hey, will they accept, they're overpriced. Will they accept a lowball offer? I don't want to deal with that. You take it. Once you're calling for the sale, in my opinion, you can call for everything else, right? You can go the buy side. You can go the lease route. You can go any route you want, You can go the listing route.
No, for sure. And like your experience like exudes like your knowledge of disqualifying and knowing what's like, it in an instant, what's worth your efforts. And if it's not, where to delegate it. It's just so intuitive just from how many deals you've done, right? And that's why for me, I already know it's just a matter of reps with the commercial side, right? And that's kind of like where to aim and fire, where to allocate. If I know I'm going to work hard in this life, I want nice things. It's like, where do I put that time?
But that's why I'm also a huge fan of calling for sellers, because if you think about the difference, think of this is why I get so excited about it. In the residential world, you call up a seller and you say, you can use the same script, like, hi, my name is Henry. I'm just curious if you'd be totally against selling the property. Residential world, the only thing you're hoping for is that they say yes, because then you could list the property for sale. That's it, right? In the commercial world, you call somebody up and say, hey, would you be totally against selling your property? If they say yes, it could be a fantastic off-market deal you could buy yourself. If they say yes, but it's too high, it's a listing. If they say that they don't want to sell the property, they might be a fantastic buyer for you. If they do not want to buy a property, they might have some vacancy, so it could be a lease listing for you. You could refer them to a property management company. You could refer them to a commercial. I mean, like, there is so much opportunity for on the commercial side when you specifically prospect for sellers, and then you could flip it into whatever script it needs to be. I mean, it's just unlimited potential.
It just opens like an onion.
Yeah, that's it. You just keep asking another question, right? As long as they're willing to stay on the phone with me, they want to play ball, And, like, again, like when you're transitioning from residential to commercial, take 1 day a week, Monday, Tuesday, who gives a shit what day? Call 1 day a week. You prospect for commercial straight. Whole day is just commercial. You take an hour or two break, whatever you need, in pockets where you can take care of any business that you obviously need to take care of from the business you got going on. Dude, 9 to 12, 9 to 1, whatever that is, you are locked the heck in, and I don't answer a call. I don't answer phone calls. The only reason why you and I answer a phone call, like hypothetically for you, you're in my calendar. If I get a random phone call, not in my calendar, I'm not answering the call. It could be the White House. I'm not answering you. I'm sorry. I'll call you back when I have a minute, especially my 9 to 12, my 9 to 1s.
Yeah, because I already knew that mornings are super important. And I guess the other layer too, like you said, it's just leads. How do you optimize not just quality, but number too, right? Like, where do you generate, not just commercial, but even for me, scaling it back into residential right now before I make that transition, I guess
I am just a massive cold caller. I've always been my entire career. Other than the first 10 months in this industry, when I didn't make any calls, like I've been essentially cold calling for nearly a decade, just consistently 3 hours plus a day. I'm not the one to try to tell you like, oh, Facebook ads work. Oh, this kind of ads work. This type of thing work. I've literally just been cold calling for 3 hours plus a day every day, or call it 5 days a week or so for the last 10 years.
Where do you get the numbers from?
So here's the thing. I want to be blunt. Canada is a little bit more complex than the States.
Yeah, we have all these anti-spam and
by the way, the states is slowly moving in that direction, so I understand. So we've had to be a little bit more creative, which is why I call as an owner, right? A lot of the reason why I call as an investor specific, like as a principal buyer, because to me, it is like the least spammy phone call I could possibly make to somebody, quote unquote, right?
Yeah, it's like, I'm giving you an opportunity for sure.
Right. So I'm calling because I want to buy a property, right? Like, so it's about as low as a spam call as you could possibly qualify in my world, right? Yeah. So in Canada, I am curious to know what software is kind of translate. Like, I know that you obviously have CoStar, which is a commercial real estate intelligence software, right? Sort of like the commercial MLS. I
Okay.
know that is also in Canada, quite an expensive, like something like Reonomy. I am curious if Reonomy, let me see if Reonomy.
That's why I'm wondering, because I was watching some of your Rockstar, more the introductory to free courses before I signed up too, and
Sure.
yeah, it seemed you had a dialer, and it just rings nonstop. So I
Yeah,
see
so
you.
I use Mojo Cells, which is the dialer service that I use. However, I would imagine there might be a dialer that is maybe more appropriate for Canada. I don't want to try to tell you that I know better than you.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a homework for me.
Yeah, I would definitely look into that 100%.
Yeah, because right now I've just been running Facebook ads, and it's crazy the quality of them. At least with the marketer I have right now, like the leads are gold. Like if they're not buying resale, they're buying pre-construction.
That's great. And by the way, I want you to know something. I'm not stupid where it's like, if something's working, continue doing it.
That's what I did.
100%. Right. Like, but it also, you have to understand, like, how well has it been working? Like how much money have you spent and how many deals have you actually closed?
Exactly. That's how you look at it. It's just what you put in. So far, it's crazy because the market with the rates, I wasn't able to break the barriers. Even my broker of record wasn't able to break barriers of buyers. He just transitioned completely and did a lot of pre-con deals. But I had like 20 clients on the road, buyers, and they're getting pre-qualified and they're just getting scared away. And these were just more so on a first-time buyer, kind of more so investor campaign.
Yeah.
Like 700, 800, 600 range. And so far only closed one out of that campaign.
Okay.
So right
But
now,
I mean, how much money have you spent on it?
not much, like 8K.
You spent 8,000 and then you made how much back?
That deal was about 18,000.
So you made net 10.
Yeah.
So,
But now
but
I
you
have
and
a
your partner both spent 4K.
yeah. So now we have 1,900 leads in our database that we paid for that we can pump these projects to.
Got it.
They're all Toronto
Yeah.
buyers. Yeah.
Great. I mean, listen, man, I also look at it like your internal rate of return per se on an ad spend, or your rate of return on ad spend, needs to also be over a longer period of time, where it's like, if you've gotten leads over, like, how long of the time did you pay for those leads? A year?
Like
6 months?
yeah, about yeah. So 6 months. I started at like really low, like $2. Now average it's about $5.
Okay, so think about it like this, right? If you've been spending money for, let's say, 6 months, you spent $8,000 over 6 months, and you've generated 1,900 leads in one closing. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay, so I look at it like this.
And see, we had the same problem as the discipline.
Yeah, but I see it like this, dude. Like, but this is why I keep this in mind. It's not that it's not working. It's just that in real estate, when you get a lead, it's not a closing right away. Like there is a lag time.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't mean they'll never close. It just, because like sometimes what happens is, if you look over a 6-month period of time, you could say it's a winner or not a winner. I mean, like, per se, because we have had one closing. Was it luck? Right. Do you like, and I'm not saying that you suck at converting, but I'm saying, is it that you need to work on your conversion? I would say like there's a few things here.
It was impacting me. I was getting a bit of imposter syndrome. I'm like, is it me?
No, like, listen, it's something that you constantly have to be analyzing, which, I mean, listen, it always is us, right? It's always me. It's always you,
Exactly.
right? Like we can always be working on that. So do keep that in mind. Like, but like over a 6-month period of time, you can say it sucks, but hypothetically over the next 6 months, how many deals do you have pending because of it?
Yeah, exactly. Like probably in the realm of 50.
So you have 50 deals under contract?
No, not signed, but in terms of on a texting basis, sending updates, markets.
How many signed? I mean, is there any amount signed right now?
Yeah, he's about 5.
Five
but
signed. Cool.
It's kind of like when I have it. Like the way I do business, it's more relational. It's like
of course. All I'm trying to say is just like dollar for dollar basis. It's like,
exactly, because
those deals will close. So it's like those 5, I'd imagine, are from the advertising, right? So it's like, okay, well, it's not really one closing, because you're working on these being closed. So like over a 12-month period of time, it might be spend 10 or 16, right? Because we're at 8 months, or 6 months for 8K, 16K for 12 months, whatever that is, right? If you spend 16 and you make 60 back, I would spend 16 again.
No, for sure.
Right?
At that point, I wouldn't even care about the ad spend. Like if it's a 10 lead, I'll just throw the money in it, because
I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I always care. I don't care how much money you have, right? Like, you always care. So it's just like, you want to know what the return on investment is.
You say it, but in reality, when it comes down to it, you don't. You analyze it micro.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm definitely, like, I care about my return on investment. Like, again, like, even for the coaching business, like we spend money on advertising, right? Like, we just started doing it. I see a return on, like, I get to look at every day, what was my return on investment? 0, $3,000, 0, whatever it is. Like, it doesn't, who cares, right? 6K, 10K, 15K. Like, I need to know what my return on investment is from the amount of money that I spend, because with advertising, it can get way out of whack very quickly. That's why you need to pay attention to it so much. But in real estate, unlike something where you can have a sale today, right? You get a lead today, you get a sale today, right? In real estate, you get a lead today, you might not have a sale for 12 months.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to be very cognizant of that.
I know we did get some lucky ones, but it just fell through where they came in a database and 5 days later they're under contract. And then but the just fell through.
Yeah, but guess what? You're gonna have all of that. You're gonna have everything in between, right? Like you're gonna have.
So you realize it's just a numbers game. You get some people that are just so burnt out throughout the process that went through 5 other agents. You know, some that are just transactional. Because that's what I realized when I was doing leases. It's like, wow, it's actually such easy money. But yeah, it's a lot more grunt work. But same thing now. I have the CRM system in place where it auto blasts listings to them and emails, campaigns. So now we're going to redevelop those campaigns and optimization.
100%. And listen, by the way, just trying to get 1% better at those campaigns, you'll see a major payoff over time.
Exactly. So then when I get to a point where I pump the ad spend, let's say get to 20K by springtime, and then it's great. Then at that point, you know, I need an assistant, maybe an ISA to do the calls.
Like, but it's like, how many calls are you actually making a day?
I'm probably touching 60 leads, but conversations like 10, 15.
Like, I'll give you some examples. My average salesperson, granted on a dialer, 400 minimum dials a day. Between you and I, if you were making $100,000 a month profit, at that point, you could do what you want to do, right? But if you're not anywhere near that number, you need to be doing minimum 4 to 6 hours on the phones, right? I don't care if you go to Miami, go have fun in Miami, but still make 4 to 6 hours worth of calls. It doesn't get fun in Miami till after, 8 o'clock at night anyways, 10 o'clock at night anyways, right? So it's like, just get, I don't care where you are in the world, traveling or not traveling, dude, 4, 6, 8 hours, whatever it is of calls.
But you're right. The dialer really holds you accountable, because that's what the one thing I was doing the HVAC sales is like, you had no choice. You just kept
dialing.
The phone numbers.
Pay for it. Listen, dude, I would rather you pay less money for the dialer. You already have 1,900 leads. Dial the freaking leads. Dude, 10 calls a day, conversation, because that's all it is, conversation. I don't care if you made 60 or 600 calls. You only spoke to 10 people today, right? Like that, you can't make a fortune off of 10 people.
That's the thing. I need the seed capital to really blow it up.
But you haven't. Here's the thing. Yes, and you haven't even created a good foundation and a good enough foundation where like
there's already so much.
The money would be irrelevant right now.
No, you're right, because I did call and it's demoralizing. And like, dude, they're telling me, Darren, why didn't you call me 3 months ago? Hey Darren, why didn't you call me? I just bought like last week.
Yeah, so, and guess what? You're gonna hear a lot more of that, but also know that, like, listen, dude, if you spent 16K and you made 160 net, and you have a 10x on investment, and you can and by the way, you've seen that return on investment over 4 quarters straight. That means it's true, right? Because you see it once, it might be bullshit. A second time, you're like, you want to make sure everything's within accurate. Maybe after 2 quarters straight of like literally month after month after month of quote unquote return on investment profits. After 6 months of ad spend, because you need a 6-month lag time. You need to see the tail, because that'll tell the whole picture. Okay. And if it's good, great, you can double down on it. But like, you have there is not enough data here.
So I guess, that will be my direction. I'll focus on the paid ads. I'll definitely be doing what I'm doing, just committed the 9 to 12, just to get that out the way.
But you need to be having 50 conversations a day, dude.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm going to make it a goal, because right now I don't even know how I can even time block the other time, because I do calls 12 to 3 as well. So just do 6 hours of that.
Right. And guess what? Look, ready? 9 to 12, take an hour break. 1 to 4. Do your thing and go on appointments and show properties after 4 o'clock, dude. I don't go on meetings until literally I will not take a Zoom call. We're taking this Zoom call at 4:30 in the afternoon. I don't do Zoom calls or any of my quote meetings, because obviously I'm here in Miami, right? Like, I don't do meetings before 4 o'clock. I want to get everything else done. A meeting is my last priority. Obviously, I have to do them. Like, I get it, and at the same time, like, I gotta make sure all my calls are good. I pitched a bunch of deals today. I wrote up some LOIs today. That's more important.
No, you're absolutely right. But that was kind of like my biggest pitfall, was just the discipline. But now I know
an accountability partner.
Now it's basically my girlfriend. Because me and him were buddies for just under a decade, since university days. So like, we don't have that relationship where it's just weird. We can't be hard on each other, because we partied together. We've been through life and death situations together. So it's like, for me, it's
how old are you now?
I'm 27.
Cool. It's like, listen, think about it like this. Okay. And then I got to jump onto another call. You're in a perfect place in life. Everything that has led you up to this moment, where you have the ability over the next 5, 10, 20 years of your life to put yourself in that financial position that you've always dreamed of. You have that ability. Every day that you are not consistent, You are going one step in the wrong direction. I know what you desire based on what you've told me today. However, your actions don't map it.
Yeah.
If you're not doing what you know you need to be doing, you're a smart guy. Like, this isn't rocket science. You're a freaking hustler, man. But every day you're not doing those, call it 2-3 hour window blocked off time frames of pounding phones, going on appointments in the middle of the day, whatever have you.
You're right. It's like a guilty conscious thing. You got to train your mind, rewire it, so that when you're not, you feel like, if you're not doing something productive. Even me, I don't even really go out and hang out. Like, I don't go to clubs that much. I just go for dinners and go home.
But I'm saying, Matt, if you go on an appointment in the middle of the day, it's like going to the club. You're wasting time, dude. Like, why would you go on you could tell that person any time of the day. It does not matter. This is when it's available. You need to control your time, dude. If you want to get one step closer to that vision, that goal, which again, it's going to take us, you're going to be dedicated for a freaking season, dude. Right? The next 5 years will be the season of your life to double down on your business. If you truly want the life that you're desiring for the next 5 years of your life, it will look very different than the last 5. And I'm not saying don't have fun, but I'm saying, like, you're going to be working like your freaking ass off in the next 5 years if you want something different. People who make $1 million a year don't do it on accident, right? They work differently than the rest of the world. The people who make 10 million a year work differently than millionaires, right? So it's like it's constantly leveling that piece up. So it's like, if you want something different, you have to work differently. You can wing it and make $100 grand, bro. You can't wing it and make $1 million consistently. By the way, over our time together, I will support you in hiring the right people. But for right now, let's just dial in for the next, call it 30 days. Let's just dial in on your schedule, get that really, really good dialed in. And then we'll talk about hiring your first assistant, which you will need.
And I knew that was kind of like the start. It was not even hiring people to have that accountability, that money's coming out of my account every day to pay them.
Yeah, because that's first. You hire through profit, right? Like, I was making $10,000 a month consistently every month for 3 months straight. Then I hired an assistant. One assistant took me from $10K to $50K in less than 90 days. But you have to be consistent with the income coming in. And I'm just saying actions, because then eventually, because you can't go to hiring an assistant and have no consistency and discipline. So
this is just for me now.
100%.
Just for time blocking now going forward.
That's right.
So what you expect from me is from 9 to basically 4 is just prospecting.
Until your money in the bank is so consistent and you're at a place financially where you're like, okay, like, I've been making $20K a month consistently for every month for 90 days straight, and I have a very good pipeline. That's when we go, okay, great, we need to hire immediately.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now it's December too, so it's a seasonal exchange. So right now it's more pre-construction. People don't want to go on the road. Like, I just closed one last week, but like, that's kind of like the outlier. So now I'm just kind of gearing everybody ready for January.
But that's also why we play in quarters in real estate, because you could have a shitty month, but you could have a great quarter.
Exactly. And that's what I want to know, kind of your wisdom, right? Because I have expectations skewed from other mentors, right? I just kind of want to just plain out and there. It's just like, you make it, you take it, kind of like that, flat out. And like, only realtors know other realtors' pain points,
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you a lot. Again, you have my cell phone, save that contact info, but again, message in the WhatsApp chat if you need anything. Okay.